Okay, good morning everyone. So today we're going to discuss a little bit more about present tenses. Now last week we were discussing about the use of present tenses, about present simple up to the present perfect continuous. However, I did not explain further about the use of these four, but I have given you the PowerPoint slides. Now, I believe that you have learned about this one, not only based on the PowerPoint slides, but also based on what you have learned before with the previous teachers. Now, in front of you here, this one is the quiz that you had last week. Now, I believe that you have no problem with present simple and present continuous, but I will review a little bit about it. So basically, what so-called as present simple and present continuous, that one is to talk about what is present moment is going on. So when we're talking about what we're doing, what we do all the time, so we're using either present simple or the present continuous. To differentiate when we're using the present simple or when we're using the present continuous. So basically, when you're talking about your habit, about truth, about facts, so you're using the present simple. But when you're talking about something happening at the very moment, or still in progress, or in a short in a short temporary time, then you're using the present continuous. When you're talking about something more permanent, then you're using the present simple. For example, I live in Surabaya, but at the moment I'm staying with my mother in Yogyakarta. So you're shifting between the present simple and present continuous. Also, you have here, let's say this one, number one. I blah 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 my car for 3 years. You have the verb that you need to change, have here. So the answer is supposed to be I have had my car for 3 years. I have had my car for 3 years. Why not using I have my car for 3 years? Now, when you're using or when we answer I have my car for 3 years, or when you're using present simple, it is incorrect because it means that you're talking about facts when you're using present simple. It is true that you have a car right now, yes, but you're focusing on the 3 years, about the duration. Okay, so therefore, it is more precise to use the present perfect simple. Okay, so your answering here is supposed to be this one. I have had my car for 3 years. Like that. Now, you can't see Tom now. He blah blah about. You also have the word have here. You cannot see Tom now. The answer is he is having a bath. Why we cannot see Tom? Because he's in the other room, right? He's taking a shower. Unless you want to see him naked. So yeah, you can meet him. But yeah, normally people won't do that. That's why you cannot see Tom now, because he is having a bath. Now, this one is a little bit what is interesting, because if you compare question number one and question number two, both of them use the word have. But why do we put this one into the simple form while this one is using the continuous form? Now, to understand more about that one, we need to go back to this one. So stative verbs, I open this one using the British Council. Now, look at this example. So there are some verbs in which it is called like the state verbs and dynamic verbs, or stative verbs. Okay, so state or stative verbs are those verbs in which you cannot put into continuous form. There are several, okay, there are several, but you don't need to memorize into these precise verbs. You can simply remember them into categorize, okay, into this distinct category. So you need to categorize them into these several kinds. There are emotion, condition, right, opinion, possession, and senses. Now look at this example. I think that's a good idea. I love this song. That coffee smells good. Do you have a pen? Okay, now let's try this one. Number one, that can't be right. I blah 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 you. Which one do you think is the answer? Is it either don't believe or I'm not believing? What do you think? Let's say, I don't believe. That can't be right. I don't believe you. Okay, let's try number 2. My holiday is next week. I blah 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 myself on the beach right now. Let's try this one. I have changed the design slightly. What blah blah blah. Which one do you think? What do you think or what are you thinking? So basically when I ask you your opinion, I have used and blurred out the answer already. So this one. She's not answering. Blah 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 her phone with her. Does she have? Is she having? She's not answering. Let's try this one. 53, are you sure that's the answer? Or do you guess? Or are you guessing? Let's try this one. The film's on at 7 p.m. and 9 p.m. Which are you preferring or which do you prefer? Where's Granddad? Oh, he blah 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 the flowers in the garden. Which one do you think? Oh, he smells or he's smelling the flowers in the garden. Let's try that one. I don't know, but I blah 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 he'll win the election. I doubt or I'm doubting. Let's try this one. Yeah, we got ourselves 100%. Now, why do we need to use the ing form or the continuous form, and when do we need to use the simple form? If you remember like this last number, I don't know, but I doubt he will win the election. But why not I'm doubting? Now, when we're talking about the main word or the verb, doubt, or in Indonesian we call it ragu. So this is called a verb in which it relates to what's called as thought or opinion. While this one, where's Granddad? Oh, he smells or he's smelling. Now, smells is, of course, it is senses. But previously I said that senses includes in-state verbs. But why do we use smelling? Now, let's check this one, the explanation. Now, stative verbs describe a state rather than an action. They aren't usually used in the present continuous form. For example, this one, I don't know the answer. She really likes you. He seems happy at the moment. Now, instead of saying, I'm not knowing the answer, you should answer, I don't know the answer. Instead of, she's really liking you, you say, she really likes you, and so on. Now, stative verbs often relate to this one, like I previously mentioned, thoughts and opinions. For example, agree, believe, doubt, guess, imagine, know, mean, recognize, remember, suspect, think, and understand. Another category is the feelings or emotions. You have dislike, hate, like, love, prefer, want, wish. So instead of saying I'm loving it like the McDonald's say or the slogan says for McDonald's, it is actually incorrect. You cannot say I'm loving, but I love it like that, okay? Now I'm loving it like the McDonald's, but I love it. Okay? Actually, you can put into logical for this kind of thing. So that one is a fact, right? So when we're talking about emotion, that one is called a fact. We cannot do that one in a kind of an action. In Indonesia, you don't say saya sedang mencintaimu, but saya mencintaimu. So this one is a kind of state. It is not an action. Next one, you have senses and perception. Okay, so you have appear, be, feel, hear, look, see, seem, smell, taste. Okay, previously we have this granddad, okay, smell or smelling. Okay, when we say, oh, my granddad smells, so it means opa saya bau, like that. But when you say my granddad is smelling something, so it means he's doing something with his nose, trying to figure out what is that smell. Okay, kalau yang satu tadi menjelaskan kondisi atau menggunakan panca indera smell, but the other one you're using the word smell is smelling as an action, sedang menciumi, sedang membaui. Okay, go back here. And then the other one is possession or measurement. You have the word belong, have, measure, own, possess, weigh. Now, pay attention on the word have. If you still remember this one, now, I have had my car for 3 years. When we're talking about present perfect simple and present perfect continuous, so you know that the differences between the two is that when we're using present perfect simple, we're talking about the result. We're focusing on the result. We're using it for talking about how many. For example, I have had 5 breakfast, or I have had eaten lunch 5 times, or things like that. Okay, or simply you're saying like I have got my lunch. So it means you're focusing on the result, that you have finished doing that one. But when you're talking using the present perfect continuous, you're focusing on the duration. Let's say this one, for 3 years. Okay, so this one is duration. But why we don't use I have been having my car for 3 years? Because the word have here, or this sentence, explain or refer it as a possession instead of action. Bukan sedang memiliki mobil, tapi punya mobil. Punya di sini adalah possession, kepemilikan. Okay? Try to differ with the second question. You can't see Tom now. He is having a bath. Not he has a bath, but he is having a bath. Karena ini menjelaskan dia sedang ngapain. Okay, go back here. There are verbs that are sometimes dative. A number of verbs can refer to states or actions depending on the context. So this one is what I told you before with the word have. But this one, I think it's a good idea. Wait a moment, I'm thinking. So the first think, this one is, look at this one, it is a mental state. So it talks about opinion. I think you look good with that dress. Or I think you look nice in that outfit. So that one is talking about opinion, what you're thinking, what you thought about. But when I say I'm thinking about something, so it means you're doing it deliberately. You're doing an action. So wait a moment, I am thinking. So it is an action in progress. So we use present continuous. Okay, another examples. I have an old car and I'm having a quick break. Okay, the first one is a state or possession. The other one is about action. Next one, you have C. Do you see any problems with that? The other one, we're seeing Tadanari tomorrow afternoon. Okay, so sometimes when you want to say you're meeting someone or you're having a schedule with someone, you use the word seeing. Sometimes you can say I'm seeing someone. It means that you're dating someone. It's different from I see someone. Okay. Next one is B. He's so interesting. He's being very unhelpful. So the first one is the B here changed into is, because it is a state, his permanent quality, his character. It's a fact. The second one, he's being very unhelpful. So that one is his temporary behavior or action. Now the last one, you have this one. This coffee tastes delicious, and look, the chef is tasting the soup. Now the first example, that one is talking about our perception or senses of the coffee, while the second one is an action done by the chef. Okay? Now, I think this one more or less and hopefully explain a little bit about the use of state and dynamic verbs. So when you need to choose which one is correct, you need to bear in mind about the criteria. You have 4 different present tenses. You need to understand each of the usage. Okay, so the first one, you have the present simple, talking about habits and permanent truth or facts. The second one is the present continuous, talking about temporary things and also ongoing action. The third one is present perfect simple, talking about result or experience. And the fourth one is the present perfect continuous, in which it talks about duration of something that we did. Okay, the duration. It can also mean that we're still in process but not likely to do it at the moment. For example, Like this sentence. I have been painting my room and I'm painting my room. What is the difference between the two? When you use I'm painting my room, so it means you are doing it right now. So let's say you're talking with your friend and then, or maybe your friend uh, comes by to your house and then they see you doing this painting action in your room. So yeah, you say I'm painting my room. Saya sedang mengecat kamar saya. But when you say I've been painting my room, so it is not necessary that you're doing it, but your friend or maybe you can see the result so far. Let's say you have 4 different walls on your room, and then you have finished 3 of those walls. So it means you have 1 more wall left. So you can use the word I've been painting my room. Saya ini lagi ngecat kamarku meskipun belum selesai. So it means, yeah, so maybe let's say that that particular day you're taking a rest and not painting it. So you can use it like that. So it means present perfect continuous can also be used to describe or to explain or to express event in which it shows clear effect at that very moment. I'll give you something else as an example. Nah, I did not put that one here. But yeah, later in the quiz you will find that one. So I hope you can understand how to answer it. So mm, let's say that you have dirty clothing, okay, or let's say that you're sweating, that your body is sweating, and then that your clothes are wet with your sweat, and then you enter this specific room, and then your teacher asks you, let's say, Dandy, where have you been? Or Dandy, what have you been doing? Have you been running? Dandy habis ngapain? Apakah kamu habis lari? Now, the question is, why do the teacher use this one? Why do I use the question, what have you been doing? Or have you been running? Kenapa kok pakai have you been running? Kenapa kok nggak pakai did you run? Or do you run? Or are you running? Or have you run? Have you ran? Sorry. Okay, so that's a problem. Okay, so we cannot say do you run, because when I ask someone do you run, so it means like asking apakah kamu suka berlari, like that. If I ask you are you running, padahal juga si Dendi ini nggak lagi ngapa-ngapain, berarti kan saya agak bodoh gitu ya pakai tanya, padahal si Dendi cuma berdiri diem aja terus saya pakai tanya are you running. So in this kind of case, so Dendi can ask back, okay, are you stupid, for example, like that. So yeah, do not imitate that one. And then the third one, have you run or have you ran? So yeah, remember you can say run, 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 or run, run, run. Okay, so have you run? So we cannot say like that because yeah, we're not measuring, we're not doing it as a result or experience. But when I say or when I ask, have you been running? Nah, itu karena sebabnya si Dendi ini bajunya basah, terus sweating, berkeringat, and then he's breathing heavily or menggos-menggos gitu ya. Jadi nafasnya tersengal-sengal. Karena mungkin dia habis lari karena tahu belnya sudah bunyi, tapi dia terlambat gitu. So we can use things like that. Now, I hope that this short explanation can help you a little bit with understanding the 4 different present tenses. If you still don't get it, you can open that one here. You have this exercises and explanation about the present tenses, or you can open again your PowerPoint slide. Okay, so I think that's all. So thank you very much. Okay, see you with the quiz.